So g'day, and I want to talk to you today about climate change and what it means for Africa. Well, I'm not sure I can speak for the whole of Africa, but what we can talk about is the place where I am, and I'm in northern Ghana, and I'm working on a project here, which is a regenerative agricultural supply chain project, working with the mighty Bambara groundnut, which is a little crop that grows here across Western Africa in the Savannah and the Sahel regions. And it's pretty, what they call it, a climate smart or future fit crop, in that it doesn't really need a lot of rainfall and it's very happy integrated soils. And so we've planted, this is our second season here, so we're really experiencing climate change. This really is the frontier of climate change in Africa, where smallholder farmers plant their crops and then are at the whim of the rains. And what's happening with the rains and climate change is that the rains have become far more unpredictable than what they used to be. Farmers knew when the rainy season started, pretty much, I don't want to say to within the day, but they knew pretty closely that when the rains came, they would follow a predictable pattern. And with that pattern, they could plant their crops. They knew what crops they had to plant first, second, third. They had an idea when the rains would come, not every day, of course, but they knew they would come regularly, and that this wouldn't affect the various growth stages of the plant. What's happening now is that the rains are far more unpredictable. The rains come and then they don't come again for 4 weeks, or even maybe only a couple of weeks. But in that period where there's no rain, planted crops who are just getting started and they're quite vulnerable, if they miss out on rain, they can die. And that's a disaster for the farmers here, because they only get one shot at growing their crops here. There's only one rainy season. So the infrequency or the unpredictability of the rains is one problem. The other problem is that when the rains come, they tend to be far more intense than what they were in the past. They're massive storms, and what happens there is it can actually destroy the crops, wash away the soils, wash away valuable topsoils. The soils here are pretty degraded, up in pretty low quality. They've been degraded after years of intensive agriculture. So they're pretty fragile soils. And once these rains come, super intensive rains, they can wash everything away. So we've got the unpredictability of the rains and the intensity of the rains, and generally lower rainfall. There's not as much rain falling as there used to be. And up in these dry parts, we're in the savannah here, it goes up further north, it gets dry, it goes up into Burkina Faso, Mali, countries like that. It's very dry up there. And so the lower rainfall, the unpredictability of the rainfall, and the intensity of the rain when it comes are causing the farmers a lot of problems. So that's really, I would say, the main impact at this stage of the climate change. Yes, in some parts it's getting hotter. The farmers here tell us that they feel it's hotter than what it was in the past, but generally it's okay for the crops. But really the real issue here at the moment in the area where we're working here in northern Ghana is those changes to the rainfall patterns. What we can do about it? Well, we can look at planting crops that can cope with that, and using regenerative agriculture techniques that captures the rain when it falls. We'll talk about that in another video.